Springfield, Missouri, June 7, 1992. Three women, Cheryl Levitt, her daughter Suzanne Streeter, and Suzanne's friend Stacy McCall, vanished from a house, leaving behind a mystery that still haunts the Ozarks. It's a story that starts like any other, a summer night, friends celebrating graduation, but it quickly descends into something far more chilling, a disappearance with no explanation, no answers, and no peace for those left behind. To understand the Springfield Three, you have to understand their lives. Cheryl Levitt was a 47-year-old hairdresser, a single mom, known for her big heart and her dedication to her clients. Suzanne Streeter, her 19-year-old daughter, was a recent high school graduate, excited about the future, maybe a little unsure of what path to take, but full of dreams. And there's Stacy McCall, 18, was Suzanne's best friend. She was a bright and bubbly young woman, also fresh out of high school, ready for whatever adventure life threw her way. They were ordinary people, living ordinary lives in a seemingly ordinary town. June 7th was graduation night. Suzanne and Stacy had spent the day celebrating with friends, attending party after party, marking the end of one chapter and the beginning of another. As the night wore on, Stacy made a decision. Instead of driving the 30 miles back home, she would spend the night at Cheryl's house with Suzanne. It was a simple decision, a last hurrah of summer freedom, but it was a decision that would change everything. The next morning, June 8th, Janelle Kirby, Cheryl's other daughter and Suzanne's sister, arrived at the house. She'd been staying with a friend and was planning to meet them for breakfast. But what she found wasn't a cheerful morning scene, but a house that felt wrong. The front door was unlocked, the lights were on, the cars were still parked outside, but there was no sign of life inside, no sound, no movement, just an unsettling emptiness. Janelle's unease quickly turned to panic as she began to search the house. Cheryl and Suzanne's purses were missing, but their wallets and keys were left behind. Suzanne's beloved dog, Nikki, a small Yorkie, was still there, seemingly unharmed. Television was on, tuned to a local station, and a glass of iced tea sat on the coffee table, as if someone had just set it down and walked away. It was a scene that made no sense, a collection of details that refused to fit together. It was as if the woman had simply vanished, leaving their lives suspended in time. The Springfield Police Department launched a massive investigation. They interviewed hundreds of people, following up on every lead, no matter how improbable. They searched the surrounding areas, combed through fields and forests, and even drained a nearby lake, hoping to find some clues and some sign of what had happened. But despite their efforts, the investigation stalled. The case became a media frenzy, but the attention only served to highlight the lack of progress and the absence of any real answers. Months later, a glimmer of hope emerged in the form of a mysterious phone call. A woman, claiming to have been at the graduation party that night, reported receiving a call from an unknown man. He told her that the women were safe and that they would be back in a year. The police investigated following the call, but the call couldn't be traced, the information couldn't be verified. It was a cruel twist, a fleeting moment of hope that quickly dissolved into despair. So over the years, one name had surfaced repeatedly in connection with the Springfield Three, Robert Craig Cox. Cox was a convicted kidnapper and robber who was serving time in Texas at the time of the disappearances. He had ties to Springfield, and reportedly told his attorney that he knew what happened to the woman, but he never revealed the details. Despite being a person of interest, Cox was never charged in the case, leaving a lingering question mark over his potential involvement. So what really happened to Cheryl, Suzanne, and Stacy? Was it a random act of violence, a targeted abduction, a crime connected to an organized crime? The theories are numerous, each as unsettling as the last. Some believe they simply ran away, seeking a new life. Others suspect they were victims of a crime so heinous, so unspeakable, that it has been deliberately covered up. Truth remains elusive, a dark secret buried deep within the Ozarks. The disappearance of the Springfield Three has left an enduring scar on the community. Their names are spoken with a mix of sadness and respect, a reminder of the fragility of life and the enduring power of hope in the face of unimaginable loss. The case continues to be investigated, and the families of the missing woman have never given up their search for answers. The Springfield Three, their story is a chilling reminder that some mysteries may never be solved, that some darkness may never be fully illuminated, and that sometimes The most terrifying thing is not knowing what happened, but knowing that something terrible did. The disappearance of Cheryl Levitt, Suzanne Streeter, and Stacy McCall is more than just a cold case file. It's a human tragedy, a story of lost lives, shattered families, and a community forever haunted by the unknown. It's a reminder that even the most ordinary places, extraordinary darkness can exist, and that some wounds may never fully heal. The air in Yuba City, California on February 24, 1978 was crisp and cold, carrying the scent of damp earth and distant snow. 5 young men, each with their own hopes, their own fears, and their own limitations, piled into a 1969 Mercury Montego ready for a night out. They were headed to Chico, a 2-hour drive away, for a basketball game, a simple pleasure, a break from their routine. But that night, a simple pleasure would become a twisted path into a mystery that continues to haunt the region. A story of the Yuba County Five, and a chilling reminder that even the most ordinary journeys can lead to the most extraordinary and terrifying unknowns. To understand the Yuba County Five, you need a glimpse into their world. Gary Dale Mathias, 32, was a veteran, honorably discharged, but grappling with schizophrenia. He'd been trying to rebuild his life, working odd jobs and attending therapy. Jack Glenn Madruga, 30, owned a car, a well-worn 1969 Mercury Montego, his pride and joy. And there's William Sterling, 29, was known for his gentle nature and his love of animals. Ted Weir, 32, was a quiet and reserved man, described as being very close to his mother. And Jack Hewitt, 24, the youngest of the group, was known for his infectious smile and his eagerness to please. These were men who, for various reasons, lived on the margins of society, finding solace and companionship in each other's company. The basketball game was more than just a sporting event. It was a chance to connect, to belong, to feel like they were a part of something bigger. The drive from Yuba City to Chico should have been straightforward, a couple of hours on well-maintained highways. But somewhere along the way, something went wrong. The car was found 2 days later, not on the highway, but on a remote Forest Service road in Plumas National Forest, miles off course. It was struck in a snowdrift, but in good working condition, with gas in the tank. There were no signs of an accident, no indication of why they had left the main road. It was a wrong turn, a simple mistake, or something far more deliberate. A decision that would lead them into the heart of the wilderness. The search for the Yuba County Five was a massive undertaking, a race against time and the elements. Law enforcement, search and rescue teams, and hundreds of volunteers scoured the rugged terrain, battling heavy snow, freezing temperatures, and treacherous conditions. They searched for days, then weeks, but found nothing. The vastness of the wilderness seemed to swallow the men whole, leaving behind only silence and unanswered questions. 4 months later, in June, the remains of Ted Weir and Jack Hewitt were discovered inside a Forest Service cabin 20 miles from the abandoned car. They had died of hypothermia and starvation. The discovery of the cabin should have provided some answers, but it only deepened the mystery. The men had access to food, blankets, and a source of heat, yet they had seemingly chosen to succumb to the elements. They had ration wrappers, but mostly unused. The survival book lay open, as if they had been studying it, but they hadn't followed its advice. It was a scene that defied logic, a testament to the desperation and confusion that must have gripped them in their final days. Gary Mathias, the veteran with schizophrenia, became a central figure in the search for answers. His mental state was a source of both speculation and concern. Did his illness contribute to the group's decision to abandon the car and seek shelter in the wilderness? Did he have a breakdown that led to their deaths? Or was he simply another victim, caught in a terrifying situation that he was ill-equipped to handle? The questions surrounding Mathias remain unanswered, adding another layer of complexity to an already perplexing case. The bodies of Jack Madruga and Bill Sterling were never found, their fate forever lost to the wilderness. A few scattered belongings were discovered, a shoe here, a piece of clothing there, but nothing that offered any real clues. The vastness of Plumas National Forest seems to have swallowed them whole, leaving behind only questions and haunting sense of emptiness. What happened to these men in those final hours? Did they succumb to the elements? Were they attacked by wild animals? Or did they stumble upon something far more sinister, something that claimed their lives and erased them from the face of the earth? One of the most chilling details of the Yuba County 5 case is the discovery of Jack Madruga's shoe. It wasn't found near the car, it wasn't found near the cabin, it was found miles away, lying on a Forest Service road. And it wasn't just lying there haphazardly, it was carefully placed, as if it had been deliberately left as a marker or a sign. What message was it meant to convey? Was it a cry for help, a warning, or just a random occurrence in a landscape filled with tragedy? The single shoe, sitting alone in the snow, is a haunting symbol of the Yuba County Five's isolation and their desperate struggle for survival. The Yuba County Five, their names are etched into the history of Northern California, a constant reminder of a mystery that has never been solved. What began as a simple trip to a basketball game became a descent into the unknown, a journey from which 5 young men never returned. The story serves as a chilling reminder of the power of the wilderness, the fragility of human life, and the enduring mysteries that can haunt us for generations. It's a case that continues to baffle and disturb, a testament to the fact that sometimes the most terrifying stories are the ones that offer no easy answers, no sense of closure, just the haunting echo of what might have been. On December 1st, 1946, a young woman, an 18-year-old college student, sets off for a hike. She never returns. This is the story of Paula Jean Weldon, a name etched in Vermont's history, a disappearance that remains a chilling enigma, a mystery that swallowed a girl whole. Bennington College in 1946 was more than just a school. It was a world unto itself, a progressive, experimental institution for women nestled in the Green Mountains of Vermont. It attracted bright, independent, and often unconventional students, young women eager to break free from traditional expectations. But Bennington also had its shadows, a sense of isolation, a pressure to conform to its own unique set of ideals. Paula Jean Weldon, a sophomore at Bennington, was navigating this world searching for her place, perhaps yearning for something more than what Bennington could offer. On that day, December 1st, Paula told her roommate she was going for a walk on a long trail, a 270-mile hiking path that snaked its way through the Vermont wilderness. She packed lightly, no map, no compass, no extra clothing. She mentioned wanting to read, but didn't take any books. She was last seen by other hikers asking for directions to Glastonbury Mountain, a remote and rugged peak with a reputation for being difficult to navigate. It was a seemingly simple hike, a way to escape the pressures of college life and connect with nature. But it was a decision that would ultimately lead Paula into the unknown. When Paula failed to return that evening, her roommate reported her missing. A massive search was launched, one of the largest in Vermont history. Hundreds of volunteers, state troopers, and National Guard members scoured the woods, battling freezing temperatures, heavy snow, and treacherous terrain. They searched for days, then weeks, but found no trace of Paula. The vastness of the wilderness seemed to swallow her whole, leaving behind only questions and a growing sense of despair. Despite the massive search effort, very little evidence was ever found. A discarded cigarette butt was discovered near the long trail, but it couldn't be definitively linked to Paula. A small piece of torn fabric was found snagged on a tree branch, but its origin remained a mystery. The trail, it seemed, simply vanished, leaving investigators with a blank slate and a chilling realization. They were dealing with something far more complex than a simple missing persons case. The area around Glastonbury Mountain is known as the Bennington Triangle, a region with a long and unsettling history of unexplained disappearances. Over the years, numerous people have vanished without a trace in this area. Hikers, hunters, and even local residents. Some believe that the Bennington Triangle is cursed, a place where the veil between worlds is thin. Others suggest that there may be geological or magnetic anomalies that contribute to the strange events. Whatever the reason, the area has a reputation for being a place where the rules of reality seem to bend and break. What happened to Paula Jean Weldon? The theories are as varied as they are unsettling. Did she run away, seeking a new life and leaving behind her old one? Was she abducted, a victim of foul play at the hands of a passing stranger or a local predator? Or did she encounter something even more bizarre, something that defies explanation? Some have suggested a connection to a reclusive mountain man, others to a secret society operating in the area. The truth, however, remains elusive. lost in the mists of the Green Mountains. The disappearance of Paula Jean Weldon had a profound impact on her family, particularly her father, William Weldon. He dedicated much of his life to searching for his daughter, following up on every lead, and never giving hope that she would one day be found. He even resigned from his position as a bank president to devote himself fully to the investigation. But despite his tireless efforts, the case remained unsolved, a constant source of pain and frustration. William Weldon eventually died without ever knowing what happened to his daughter, a tragic end to a life consumed by grief and uncertainty. The disappearance is more than just a cold case file. It's a haunting reminder that some mysteries may never be solved, that people can simply vanish from the face of the earth, leaving behind only unanswered questions and a void that can never be filled. It's a story that continues to resonate because it touches on our deepest fears, the fear of the unknown, the fear of loss, and the fear that some things are simply beyond our understanding. So if you've enjoyed this video, make sure you subscribe to my channel Echoes. More videos to come soon, but until then, take care.